You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging out with you guys. And today, it is a guest interview. I love doing guest interviews, and you guys enjoy listening to them all the time as well. We try to change it up on the podcast with a solo episode, a guest, a solo, a guest. That way we kind of keep it fresh and something different almost every day. And today we're joined with, I think, a three-peat or maybe even a four-time returning guest. We like to get a little annual update. We have none other than Christian Schloegel over here with C&I Services. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And I'm thinking this is either 3 or 4. So yeah, I'm glad to be back on.
Well, we actually got to hang out yesterday morning. You were down visiting, what was it, your grandparents?
Yeah, in Ohio. And then visiting for the weekend, and then realized you weren't that far away. So we made a trip up there and had a good time.
There you go. Well, it was fun because you got to come over. We just got to hang out. Like literally, there was no agenda other than just having fun. And we actually got to befriend each other over the last 4 years. I think we were trying to add it up. How old were you when we bumped into each other at GIE Plus Expo?
So I think I was 16, maybe 15. It was, I think, 3 or 4 years back.
Yep.
I know you've come over to my place, I think 3 times, and then I've never been out your way, so it's good to get over there. But yeah, it's been quite a few years now, and it's too many more, right?
Yeah. Well, you're a celebrity diva, man. I got to come visit you. I got to leave my house and the comfort of my home and my my pregnant wife to come over. No, I'm just having fun. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's always cool to see you and the progress you've made, and frankly, I just really enjoy getting to see you grow your company and who you've really matured into be, the last couple of years from just an awkward 16-year-old kid to an awkward 19-year-old kid, So
yeah.
I'm just having some fun. But no, it was really cool, though, because you had come up, met me at my house. We took the four-wheeler out, just got to tear it up on the property for about an hour. That was cool. Took you to breakfast at my favorite breakfast place 5 minutes from my house, or a property house to be. And then we went shooting, and that was really, really fun, shooting inside a gun range. And that was your first time shooting guns, right?
Yeah, that was my first time shooting ever, and really enjoyed it. And definitely we'll have to do that again in the future.
Amen to that. Well, I said when we were headed there, I said, hey, make sure you ask your parents. I said, I know you're 19, but you're still living at home. I don't want you to get kicked out if your parents are against it. And not only did your parents, mom and dad, both say yes, but your grandpa said yes, and then wanted a full list of the guns because he was like jealous that he couldn't come. So your grandpa, you said, was he in the military or the Navy?
Yeah, he served in the Air Force. So that was it's kind of really good to reconnect with him on that. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, let's do this. We're going to do a quick little short and sweet update. Christian's got, as always, a lot of great things going on. So we're going to get a little annual update from him. And we wanted to do this podcast live together when he was up here, but he had to zip back down to visit family there in Ohio. So we got the fun done, but we had to do the debrief today. So let's do this really quick. We're going to hear a little bit more from Christian with C&I Services right after today's show sponsors, updates, and announcements, all brought to you guys from Mr. Producer down in the ATL. So guys, let's hear from him, and then we will be right on back.
Here is today's staggering statistic. There are now 2,292,106 podcasts in the world. Yeah, there's actually a real-time counter on the web that keeps track of this stuff. Now, the reason I mention all of this is simply to thank you, the faithful listeners of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, because here in an infinite universe of options, not only have you chosen Brian's show, but so many of you listen that it is consistently a top 100 podcast in the entrepreneur business category. You all rock. Thank you for spreading the word, not only about Launchpreneur Academy, but also about the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast.
Hey, Lenny Magno with Exmark here with some food for thought when it comes to choosing the right zero-turn mowers. What do you value in a zero-turn mower? Productivity, reliability, cut quality, or a combination of each? At Exmark, we're constantly listening to our customers to ensure our Laser Z mowers deliver the right features, productivity, and uptime performance to help them grow their business. Visit exmark.com to learn about the innovations that make the Laser Z the green industry's most trusted zero-turn mower.
Hey guys, Paul here from the Green Industry Podcast to remind you that when the water goes up, the boats go up. You're listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
All right, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. Mr. Christian Schloegel, which, by the way, I'm getting your name right, so that's got to be progress, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think each episode you've gotten a little better, and we're finally there.
4 years later, right?
Right.
So when sometimes you guys call in, if I butcher your name, I do apologize. It's always funny because all of you guys know my name, but I don't know your name, right? It's one of those deals. So, but after 4 years, I'm starting to get it right for Christian at least. So, hey, Christian, if everybody doesn't know your startup story, why don't you just spend like a quick minute or two, bring these guys up to speed, just your background and what your business looks like today, and then we'll dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brian. So, yeah, I'm currently 19. We serve our clients in the Chicagoland area and the suburbs. So I started this business about we began doing services when I was in fifth grade. So that was about 7, 8, 9 years ago. And then fast forward over the years, we've added services, added equipment and so on and so forth, expertise and experience as well. And we've really had a great team over the last couple of years. So fast forwarding to now, we provide full maintenance, lawn care, and landscaping services, as well as planting and installation. And I'm starting to get, I would say, kind of dabbling, but also kind of going head first into the design aspect, at least on a basic level for planting installations, as well as trying to get to know the native plants in the area.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we're, and I'm getting a lot of, as well into the sustainability aspect of landscaping, of how to really use what we have to work with in our area with native plants and being sustainable and all that type of stuff, because, we want to be greener to the best we can, so kind of using the best new equipment here and there really helps us with that initiative. So yeah, that's where we're at. I just graduated high school, actually, just about a month and a half ago, mid to end of May.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm planning to go to a community college for the next 2 years, and then a full university after that for the following 2 years.
That's awesome,
so
man.
That's a little fast forward to where we are now.
That's cool. That's cool. So let me ask you this, for everybody listening in, they've seen you on YouTube, over the last few years as well, grow your business setup. You've grown up, your work, your equipment, your revenue, everything is just growing really, really well, very healthy. And one of the reasons to go full circle, like I said at the beginning when we were just starting the show, that I love having you on, is you just provide a lot of credibility out there for these younger guys, 13, 15, 18 years old, that want to start a lawn care business. And we've done a couple of videos on YouTube where you're talking about 3 tips to help somebody out, or your equipment setup. And not that you're like the answer man or the guru, but you have just a great, solid business and career going for you already. And so if you guys are maybe just listening in, or maybe you're a little bit younger, if you go on the YouTube channel, you can always search our video library for a variety of topics, whether it's route density or working in the rain, or what's our rain policy, or blower videos for equipment if you're making upgrades. And then also how to start a lawn care business for teens. I have a whole teen playlist for young guys, that we've had Counter Shop on there. We've had Christian a couple of times, a couple other young guys that we've had in person, or we've met them on a property, something like that. So I'm always trying to make these resources available for all the different age groups. And I know so many young guys get started at, 15, 18 years old. I know I did. So Christian, let's go all the way back to the beginning. Were you doing mostly mowing and maintenance? And then what are you guys focusing on now? You said you're getting more into the landscaping design work, but did you start with mowing, or are you still doing like 50-50 right now? Or take me from the beginning to where you're at today.
Yeah, Brian. So where we started was just with mowing and some basic cleanups like spring and fall cleanup, just kind of bagging leaves. I think I may have, I just raked leaves, bagged them with a mower or whatever. that's kind of where we started. And we kind of discussed this on actually one of the videos that's like the best tips and tricks for equipment to start a lawn care business on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Kind of to plug what you were just talking about for anybody who's interested in that kind of stuff. We kind of discussed on there the progress, but where we're at is where we started with the push mower and just rakes, and then next basically a year or two after that, we continue to add, I think, mulch, and then year after that was hedge trimming, just kind of stuff like that. And it's kind of as people ask you to do stuff when you're younger, that's kind of when you start. That's what I felt was with when I had, a bunch of people asking me, should I do this? If I do this service, let's say, we get into mulch or whatever. When you're younger, that's how you kind of get into the next thing. And once you get one or two under your belt, it really inspires you to just add them all or keep growing and add a lot more services because you see how profitable they are.
Sure.
So, yeah, so that's kind of where we went. We started mowing at a couple, basic stuff here with limited equipment, with a mower, rake, whatever, hand tools. Progressed through aeration was actually one of our biggest services. I would say in year 2 or 3, I just rented one from our local power equipment dealer or rental place, and I would actually have my dad grab, because I couldn't drive. I was 12, 13, 14. He would rent the trailer. We'd grab it, drop it off here, and I would just either walk if there's a walk behind or ride it if it's stand on just around the neighborhood because we have really great route density. And I was able to just ride it around the neighborhood. So that's kind of how I did it all before I was, able to drive. And, that's how we built, how I was kind of forced into having such good route density for our maintenance clients.
Right.
Because I had no other option. I couldn't drive and I wasn't going to make anybody else do it for me. So we just drove our equipment around, whether it was mowing or aeration, etc.
But I'm sure to that back in the day, it was very very pretty, and you had all the cool equipment and the best setup, and the colors matched, and everything was really cool. Or did you just kind of Forrest Gump and reinvest as you could?
Yeah, so kind of throughout, my nature has been reinvest everything as I go. So when I first started with the Honda push mower, and I still use it to this day, and I've never had the prettiest, most sexy stuff per se. But as we've gone along, we've maybe been able, recently I added a second Toro Multiforce. Wow, I have 2 matching ones in my fleet now, but we've just made the choices that we think are best fit for our equipment, whether it means renting, which we still do rent like Ryan aerators, mostly when we aerate, or rent side cutters. We just make do with what we've had, with what we have, or what we have to do to rent. So you just kind of got to make it work. However, whatever that means for you, whatever resources you have access to, that's what we've been doing.
Let me ask you this: talking to the younger guys out there, they're 13, they're 15, they're 17. Let's say for instance, and you were in this boat for a long time as well. You just don't know what to do. Right? Like I know I need to mow grass and I want to run a business. I always get that question. What do I need to do? What's the first thing I need to do? And my answer is always like, you got to make something happen and just take action, right? A lot of us always say, just take action. Like go pass out the flyers, go knock on doors. What's your biggest tip to somebody who's just starting out? Like what worked for you to get this inertia? Right? You're 10, 12, 15 years old. Maybe you're 25 years old and you're just learning how to start a lawn and landscape business. Like, what's the first thing you do? What was some of those initial things you did to start breaking that inertia to actually get the business moving? Was it passing out flyers? Was it knocking on doors, making a Facebook page? Any takeaways for you? Because it's just 4 or 5 years ago you got started in all of this.
Yeah, so I would say the first thing that will really take you a long way is just doing real good, high quality work. Maybe at first, doing the proper and thorough job, it takes longer and, might not be that fun to some guys, if you have to take the extra minutes to, pull a couple weeds here or there, whatever you have to do to go the extra mile. But very soon after, your clients will refer you to others and the ball will get rolling. That's probably the number one thing you can do to get your business rolling is by doing really high quality work, having, one way we differentiate ourselves as well, besides that, is having really good, clear, and effective communication with the clients, where other people maybe you won't respond to their clients, in a timely manner, or, we just try to go the extra mile and have a really clear and effective communication with our clients as well.
I'm taking notes. I'm listening. I'm writing down on my phone right now. Quality and communication. I think if you started with those two things, whether you're 13, 30, or 50, I think can go a long way. In fact, the funny thing is, I was just talking to Paul Camaro. We did a podcast with him just a couple of days ago, and he had said that one thing that differentiates his company is the quality of work that they do and the knowledge that him and his guys and his crew and his company has. Like, he's a consultant. Like, he's there to solve problems. He's there to, make that customer's property as beautiful as ever. And that's something that differentiates him from another company that just doesn't take the time, doesn't care, so on and so forth. So what you're saying is that even if you only have one mulch job or one landscape job, we all know the best advertising in business is word of mouth. So you think that doing quality work and good communication is one of the first things you can do with your new business to really separate yourself from the competition?
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially around here, you've been here, like, there is a lot of landscape to manage here. It's not your subdivision style homes with minimal mulch beds and, classic lawns. This is like this. A lot of our clients around here are picky. A lot of them have really high maintenance needs because there are more interesting landscapes, or there's larger homes, or there's smaller homes with nicer landscapes. There's just a lot to do around here, and there's a lot of landscapers. So there's an incredible amount of landscapers, but there's plenty of work to go around. So the work will come to you with the quality, because people know you can tell who's on the block the most. You can tell who does the best work by who's on the block the most. I guarantee you that, because you go around here, I drive around a town or two. If you pick out the same landscape company multiple times, you'll see who has the best work because they have the most work or do the most interesting jobs. It's really interesting, but I really am a firm believer in that.
Let me ask you this. Why are you such a firm believer in that? How did you know, or how did you learn that doing quality, which I agree, I think you're right. I think if you do quality work and communicate to your customers regularly, you'll win more jobs, earn more customers. How did you come down to that? If we distill this idea down, this thought process down, did you not communicate with a customer once and lose a job? Or did you do a job that was kind of a rush job and then the customer wasn't happy and then they left you a negative review, or anything dramatic or that turned you onto this kind of thought process?
I kind of think I think I forgot to mention it, but I think the quality is kind of, I think being timely and doing your work as well comes hand in hand with the quality of your work. So one way I differentiate myself around here is I'm able to do work pretty quickly. First of all, we have an awesome team of part-time guys who help us out throughout the year, especially in the summer, but throughout the year. But we're really able to deliver to clients on a pretty quick basis. So not only are we quoting really quickly, so I'm in the community, so I'm able to go to their houses really quickly, send them a professional quote on our CRM database. We're also able to do the work pretty quickly, within a week most times, because first of all, we're in the community, we're always around, so we can fit stuff in here and there, and second of all, we have a great team. So I guess kind of part of the quality, I would say, is also being timely, and it's not always possible for larger jobs, but for the smaller stuff and medium stuff that we do, I found that, people are extremely surprised when you say you can fit them in your schedule at the end of this week.
Sure.
I had a client who reached out to me yesterday for their sister who's selling their house, saying, I've had 3 other landscapers who ghosted us, or my sister. She really needs her landscape cleaned up. It's a couple times over, but she really needs it cleaned up before they take photos and put the house in the market. And I secured that job today, and we're doing it on Tuesday.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's, especially like, owner operator or smaller with, few crews, if you're able to do that, that's one way you're able to differentiate yourself as well. I believe.
I thoroughly agree. And I think that's awesome. I mean, that is a really, really helpful tip. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're 15, 25 or 35, like I said, being able to communicate with your customers and, actually caring to take care of that customer. Sometimes you can fit them in, sometimes you can't. We get it. But you know what, like, for example, I'll give you a good for instance for us personally. It was about a week and a half ago. I'm driving the truck, start hearing the brakes grinding. I mean, not the squeal. The squeal's okay for about another week or two or what. I'm not a mechanic, but squealing is okay for a minute, like a really quick minute. The grinding, not good, right? So we were mowing grass, we're mowing lawns just like you guys are. The truck brakes are grinding. I'm like, grinding's not good. I need to get my brakes done. It's a Wednesday, 9 a.m. I call up my mechanic shop, our family friend. He's got like one of those houses with the garage next to it that's attached, or a detached garage, I should say. And so I called him up. I said, her name is Barb. I called Barb up and I said, hey, I need to get in as soon as I can, obviously. It's on your schedule, of course, but I need to get in as soon as possible. We're using the truck Monday through Thursday, but they're grinding. I know I got to get them done. And I was actually going out of town that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was like, hey, we're not working on Friday. The guys aren't working on Friday. The truck's available for Friday. Can you guys get me in? And she goes, absolutely. She goes, her answer was, nothing's impossible. And I went, oh my God, like, that's incredible. I said, well, I don't want to, mess anything up with your schedule. She goes, nope. Like, there's always a 4 or 5 hours where there's some downtime, or we can work on a different job while another job's doing something. Let me see what we can do. She calls me back about 2 hours later. I can get the parts and, I can get you in on Friday. And I'm like, no way. I mean, 24 or 48 hours later, dropping the truck off, we were able to get it fixed on a day off, like, perfect timing. That's hard to do, during the season, but she made me a priority, and it just made me feel so grateful. I told her the brake job was $500. I mean, knew everything, commercial pads, all this stuff. And I told her, I said, add $25 onto it for the two guys for Jimmy John's for lunch that afternoon. No, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, no, you're doing me the favor, thank you. So I communication and just priority and speed, speed is feed, right? We always say.
Right.
And so, great tips, man. I love it. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's, those are some great tips for guys that are, just getting started, or even guys that have, an established business. But where's, C&I Services this year, and what else are you guys focusing on? How's the snow game, by the way? You guys still crushing it in snow, or, you guys, did you quit the snow business, or how'd that work?
Yeah, so I don't think we our last podcast was before this past winter. So to catch everybody up on that, over here in Chicagoland, we had an excellent winter. The snow, we got a good amount of snow. It was above average, but the key was that we had a lot of consistent smaller snows, so we were able to keep, per push, right? So it starts to add up, and we had a really excellent team, and we're very blessed to have a lot really beautiful and efficient equipment that really well services our area, and we provide a specialty service to our clients, I believe. So excellent winter. We've discussed in past podcasts all about winter, but we do the whole compact snow removal equipment on our clients' driveways, right? So we're able to service the paver driveways. We're able to service, the cement driveways. Our clients don't have to worry about chips in their driveways because of the, either a rubber edge or the poly edge or the power broom. So, if you want to know more about the snow, you can kind of check up on the last podcast about how we differentiate ourselves in that. But we had an excellent winter, and we're very thankful for our crew. So I'm actually, today I was going through some of our photos from last winter, just because I'm kind of getting excited for the next winter with all this 90-degree heat out here.
Amen.
Kind of gets me thinking. Yeah, absolutely. So our winter was really fantastic, and we were just fortunate to have a great crew and great equipment. So
amen.
And we spring was not disappointing either. It was extremely we were extremely blessed to have a really great spring, and even last fall. We had extremely dry weather. We didn't have a single day we worked with wet leaves, which is, hard to believe. But we had extremely great weather last fall. going in the spring, we've had an extremely dry spring up until a week ago when we had 7 days straight of rain, probably 7 or 8 inches total.
Yep.
But we've just had a great spring, a fantastic crew, and we've been doing a lot of mulch, cleanups, planting, the whole deal. We've to kind of go back to your question earlier about where we're at with the lawn mowing versus landscaping. We actually cut back on our clients this year for mowing we had about like around 80 last year, 80, 85 a week, to now this year we're servicing about 50. So what is that? 33%, whatever, we cut back on our clients. And for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain that real quick. So some of our clients, we raised our prices a little bit this year, just because we haven't done much of that in the past, and we really believe our quality and effectiveness has gone up, as well as our overhead has gone up as we've grown. So some of our clients, mainly clients who just wanted mowing, mow and go, mow and go and trim, and no mulch, no nothing, whatever.
Sure.
Those guys, a lot of those were not happy with that, or just kind of went with another landscaper, let's say. And a couple of our clients who just were fine with the price, but just only wanted mowing, we didn't really take them back. So we really are focusing on having a really high quality group of clients in a real dense area. So I would say 95, 99% of our clients have us do at least 3 to 5 services besides mowing a year.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And one thing I've really gotten into last year, and I was lucky to have a cool local mentor who taught me these floral pot arrangements throughout the seasons, so spring, summer, fall, winter. And now this year I'm on my own, and I've been doing a lot of those. So in the front pots and urns at houses and commercial offices and buildings, that's been a really great service add-on this year. So
wow,
we're never stopping adding on services. As I said earlier, whether it's adding mulch, hedge trimming, or adding design and flower pots, there's always something to continue to meet the needs of your clients.
That's awesome, man. Well, good for you guys. I remember you calling me about leaf cleanups, like you're just a few weeks before you started them, and your pricing was good. But I had just learned from Hard Knocks myself, recently, and I'm like, hey, up your rates, do this, try this, and I think you had mentioned you called me, I don't know, a couple of weeks later, and you're like, man, I'm so glad I skyrocketed my rates for leaf cleanups. I'm making money hand over fist. Or I just remember you being excited. We were talking about something, and
yeah. So that was last fall. I called Brian up, and we were talking about some other stuff, and I just was kind of saying fall wasn't it wasn't the most profitable time of year for me, and I was just wishing it was winter already.
Right.
Because we hadn't got any snows, and Brian kind of just reminded me of just give me a little wake up call to what the service what we're providing, and kind of just remind me we do such a great job, and we do a lot in our fall cleanups. I think even we do all the perennial pruning as well, which not everybody has done in their cleanups, but just kind of comparing sizes of Brian's properties to mine, and mine are larger and more complicated in many instances. It just helped me kind of set me back on track, and my rates did go up, and our clients didn't even budge. So
practically speaking, just to talk numbers, I was doing them for $250 and $3 1/4 and $400, and you were doing them for the same price. And I've been to where you live, and I said, Christian, your home values are 3 to 4x mine. I said your landscaping and the yards are 2 to 3x. I mean, the landscaping is 4 to 5x. We simple beds on my properties. I mean, beautiful hedges and rows and landscape beds on yours. I said, Christian, what are you doing? I said, you need to double, triple those numbers. And I wasn't, being a jerk or a butthead. We're just talking shop. And you're like, you think so? I'm like, dude, I know so. Every other thing you were killing it on, and there was just some oversight. And I'm not the guru, but I'm just like, hey, whoa, what did you just say? Why did you do that for $300? And you're like, what? And so anyway, you had literally, it sounded like doubled a lot of your pricing, or more. And I just remember I don't even know if we were really talking about that topic. We were talking about something else. And then I think fast forward a month later, we were catching up and you're like, dude, I had like the best November I've ever had on record. And like all my pricing and my lead, like we were so profitable. And I'm like, like that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was really fortunate to have, a conversation with you, and it worked out. And, a lot of our prices kind of went up, I would say, average probably about $100 per property. I wouldn't say it was quite double, but, we significantly increased our costs and our clients. And we felt like we could take a little more time as well as part of that to kind of just, put the cherry on top, let's say it. Because we weren't so rushed. And I remember very clearly we finished our cleanups the Monday, a week before Cyber Monday, which is normally we're working till after Thanksgiving. So we finished, 3 or 4 days before Thanksgiving, which I think was like around the 22nd of November, which for us is really early, thanks to the weather as well, but as well as just we just had a really great fall, and it was a good fall. So we were in the same boat because we get pretty similar weather, and
right. It was our best fall ever last year. We had made investments into our Billy Goat debris loader. We had the U-mount leaf blower as well. A lot of you guys have seen that on YouTube. So we were, making investments hand over fist too, because I want to grow my leaf game. It's so there's so much money on the table with leaves if you do it right. Leaves can be such a pita if you don't have the right equipment. That's a fact. And I mean,
and this year we have the new Toro turbine blower for our multi-force.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be kind of a game changer for us, kind of in line with your U-mount blower. You might even have one, I don't know, but we're real excited to get it out there.
We'll see what Toro wants to demo. Thank God they sometimes see this product to share with you guys on YouTube and Instagram. I mean, that's never expected, but always appreciated. And frankly, half the time I end up letting half my lawn bros nearby, borrow or rent the equipment off me just to keep it moving and help them out as well. I like to share with anything that I get as a blessing. But there's also some other things coming down the pike this fall that I can't sign or I can't talk about because you sign these NDAs, right? They always say. So some other companies are coming out with some stuff that I've already got a sneak peek at, and I think you guys are going to be turning heads. And it might actually come from a company that you don't expect, which is going to be even more of a fun conversation out there, possibly at GIE Plus Expo. But hey, let's spun it up right here, man. This is a really good, short and sweet episode, and a lot of value packed into this for people of all ages and business sizes and types. Are you letting the cat out of the bag about any of your future plans and expansion projects, or are you holding back on that one for now?
I can give a little something there. So thanks for reminding me. So as part of the plan of my, in accordance to going, so I'm going to community college for the next 2 years, just locally. It's like 15 minutes away. As part of my initiative of doing that, I'm planning throughout the time, as now we just finished up the first second quarter of 2021 here, and we're planning to hopefully purchase land and build a building. So that's something, for garages and all. So, and not to give away too much, but we are really pushing. We're going for a lot of sustainable. We're really trying to implement a lot of sustainable practices in the building, like we may put some solar panels up or something like that, to help cut down on the cost of electricity, but also just use what Mother Nature's providing, as well as some geothermal heat or something like along those lines. So we'll figure it out. We've kind of already got a plan, but we're really trying to make it a building that contributes to the community. It's not just a pole barn. Pole barns are really great and they're very functional, but we're trying to make it a good addition to the community that is a beautiful building and going to contribute a lot. So that's what I'll say on that, and really hoping that will go through and smoothly at that.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm pumped for you. I'm one of your biggest fans, man. I'm always rooting for you and all of you guys listening in. Like my good friend Paul always says, a rising boat or rising water raises all boats, right? And it's a bad joke. It's a rising tide raises all ships. But anyway, but that's Paul. Paul's the wordsmith. I'll leave the intelligent conversation to Paul on the Green Industry Podcast. Over here on Fullerton Unfiltered, we Forrest Gump our way to the finish line every episode and every day, but just having fun. But no, in all sincerity, I'm pumped for you. That's a huge goal of yours, I know, and that's something that I'm sure will materialize here before you know it. You're patient, but you're very smart working behind the scenes. You're not just working. You're thinking, you're planning, you're designing. And then of course the biggest part is executing. And so I'm really excited for you. I know your dad's proud of you. Last time I came over to your house, I was over there for 2 hours that night. There was a fire going. Your dad had the grill going or whatever, and I just talked to you and your dad for 2-3 hours. That other gentleman was over, and he was an executive or something at Facebook, and we're just talking business and numbers. And your dad's blown away at like what you're doing, like what I'm doing with social media, if you will. And your dad's just like baffled at like these kids. He like called me a kid. He's like, you're his kid, and he's like, you kids these days, and
right.
But your dad's got a successful corporate background, and he was just encouraging both of us. And I'm like, he's like, thanks for encouraging my son. I'm like, well, your son encourages me, we're so it's it was just a lot of fun getting to know you more on a personal level and your family, obviously. But and then we shot a podcast, I think, down in your basement, and showed me around town. And that was just a really good time when I was actually over there in Chicagoland area hanging out to do some light installs with Yusuf with Route 1 Industries. So good times, man. Well, hey, let's
absolutely.
Let's button it up right here. Any last parting things you want to share with the audience while we got you? But it's always fun getting a little annual update from C&I Services and what you're up to.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of great topics, all across the spectrum for all, whether you're a starter or you're a veteran in the industry. I think we covered all bases. If anybody is interested in, seeing any of the content, I'm sure Brian will have a link or something, but you're welcome to check out my Instagram or YouTube. It's C&I Services LLC on both YouTube and Instagram. Working on growing our platforms and trying to give back any knowledge. You'll see me in the comments of, whether it's Brian's post or Paul's post, who's on your, podcast a couple of days ago, trying to learn, a lot of, what best, new best practices or, how should I get better? If anything, if to one takeaway I have kind of is to use the resources you have available out there, because there's a lot of great guys and girls who want to help others. Like Brian did help me with my cleanup pricing, and Brian, helps or whatever it may be with, there's a lot of guys in the industry who want to give back and help share information. So that's kind of one takeaway I have.
Amen. I love it, man. Well, you're part of that conversation as well. I know so many young guys listen to you and learn from you, and especially from YouTube. I think the one of the videos we did, I think you had sent it to me randomly like a couple months back, and you said it had like 100,000 views or 150,000 views, and you said you get almost like a DM every day from a new person finding you from that video. That is 13, 15, 18 years old, and they're like, hey, how do I start a lawn care business? And that's the best part about it, man. And you're able to help those guys, and they can follow you, and they can get encouraged. So it's a beautiful thing when you guys really think about it. And thank God these resources all exist for all of us to grow a successful lawn landscape company. Amen. So
Absolutely.
Well, we'll button up right here, man. Again, we were going to do this episode actually live when you were up here visiting, and we rode the four-wheeler. You shot all my bullets, and so don't be surprised when you get the invoice, and that'll make you wide-eyed and shocked at how much that cost. I'm just having fun, but it was actually really, really adorable because we were at the gun range, and I think you went through a mag. It was your first time shooting, and you did a really good job. And I was just laughing because you had said you went through one magazine. It was like 17 bullets or whatever in one of the guns we were using. And then you said, well, how much is a bullet? Because we're all screaming, in the gun range. And I said, I don't know. And you go, well, how much do you think they are? And I'm like, I don't know, dude, like maybe $1 a bullet. and you went like, ha ha. And then you like straight face looked at me like, that was $20. and then like you looked at the rest of the table and all the bullets are like laying out and the magazines are laying out. And you're like, dude, there's like a couple $100 here. And I'm like, yeah, and we're going to shoot all of it. And you were like so thankful and so appreciative, which is always, I always appreciate people that are appreciative versus like, they're owed something. I don't like that attitude. And you were very grateful, very appreciative. And that just makes me want to share more with people that have that spirit and that attitude. And it was my pleasure taking you out. It was such a fun time, and you didn't leave any targets unshot. So that was really a good job. And hopefully we didn't turn you on to that expensive of a hobby. So maybe one day you can get your own and you can start going down that expensive rabbit hole. Amen. So
yeah. Yeah. I might have to take you out to Chick-fil-A next time we're here to help recoup that bill. Cause I don't know if I can get into that hobby with that kind of cost anytime soon, but maybe in the future. So I think Chick-fil-A will do for now, right?
Yeah. The YouTube millions kick in, and that all goes to the ammo fund. Amen. So just having fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, cool deal. Well, we'll button up right here. We got Christian with C&I Services. If you want to follow on Instagram, it's at C&I Services LLC, if I'm not mistaken. Give him a follow. Christian's a great dude. If you got a question, shoot him a DM. If you guys enjoyed the show, maybe take a screenshot of it, share it on Instagram. We always appreciate you guys sharing the show and help spread the word that the podcast exists. In fact, most new folks that find the show, it's from people sharing it with other friends and lawn bros and on Facebook and forums and all that stuff, and saying, hey, give this a listen. You guys might enjoy it. I know so many owners even pass it on to their employees, so their employees can kind of learn the business and get their head in the game. And that's always fun too. So Christian, thanks for taking time to be on the show, man. We appreciate you big time, and hope you have a great rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian.
You bet, bud. All right, guys. Well, hey, let's button it up right here. We'll kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to bring us all the latest show announcements, updates, and anything that we might have missed. But thanks again to listening to the show, guys, and we look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Are you following Brian's lawn maintenance on YouTube? I hope so. Just saw a new video of Brian with a really cool mower from Exmark on his channel and encourage you to watch that. Also, our good friend Keith Kalfas has a new Exmark video out where yours truly does the voiceover, and it's a funny vid, so please watch it. And if you're in the market, say it's time to purchase a brand new mower, please consider an Exmark, and of course, let them know that Brian Fullerton recommended it.
For almost 40 years, landscape pros have trusted Exmark equipment to help them get the job done day in and day out. Hey, I'm Mike Mayfield, and as a product manager here at Exmark, I get the opportunity to listen to our customers and test new ideas for our products each and every day. We strive to make our mowers the most durable, comfortable, and advanced in the green industry. Exmark, engineered by us, trusted by landscape professionals, ready to work for you.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.